Are you guys ready to build some planter boxes you've never seen before? Well, you're in the wrong video, because we're not doing that today. Everyone else is. Go watch those videos. Today, we're going to be building a sunshade, because it's a cloudy day, it's middle of March, got a nice breeze, but it's 85. Why can't we ever get anything cooler than like 70, right? So anyway, so I want to build a sunshade for the back to prepare for summer and spring and all that good stuff. So what we're going to learn today is 3 important things, and I'm so glad I'm going to share this with you. First thing, we're going to learn what not to do. You guys are going to learn from my mistakes, because if you've watched me before, you know I mess up. So sometimes that's better than watching a professional, right? Second thing you're going to learn is the biggest and most important part is how to space your post, where you're going to put your post at, right? Because that's what took me the longest time, because I followed the directions they gave me, and it was still really, really loose. Even when I had that carbiner as tight as possible, it didn't work out. And the third thing we're going to learn is something I forgot. What was I going to say? The third thing we're going to learn is, you're going to learn some installation tips, because sometimes I do things right. And so maybe that'll help you guys out. So anyways, let's go ahead and see what materials we're working with today. So I've got everything laid out over here for you, and I forgot to mention that this is going to be budget friendly. So it's not going to be very pretty, not very aesthetically pleasing, but it's going to be budget friendly and functional. So what we've got 6 4x4s, right? And those are 8 feet. And then I've got 8 2x4s, and those are 12 foot. And we've got these stakes. Now I don't know if these are going to work. They're about 2 foot long, and they're rated. They're made for playgrounds, trampolines, sheds, all that good stuff. My father-in-law actually has a set that he put for his shed, so we're going to see. But you drill those in the ground, and then you put these brackets on your post or your side of your wall or whatever you're doing. We've got the carbiner set here, so a few different things of hardware. Comes with this. Actually, that went with that, but anyways. And then we've got the sunshade over there. Now before I started cutting and messed this whole thing up, I made a mini version without the crossboards. I just took some small cutoffs and attached the anchors to them and stretched it across the yard. At first, I did this in the backyard, but I did not have enough room, so I had to move to the front. This is a 10 by 20 shade, and the instructions say to add 6 inches to a foot on each corner. Long story short, I needed more than a foot to create the proper tension and prevent sagging. As you can see here, it still sagged a little, but not bad. Alright, so we're going to start with the 4x4s, and I'm going to make a little notch on the top here so that the 2x4s can rest on top. So I'm just going to get this scrap piece here and put it on there and kind of make a mark here. And this is going to be one of the corner pieces, so I'm going to rotate it and do the same thing. I'm going to notch out each side because it's going to be like that and that, right? So make a little mark here. Then we're going to take the circle saw here, and we're going to run it through and kind of notch that out here. Oh, let's set the depth first. Alright, then I'm just going to get my hammer and chisel and just kind of get this out of there. Then flip it over and do the other side. And after cutting all 4 of the corners, I'm going to start doing these 2 for the middle, where I don't have to notch out both sides because it's going to just go across this way. So now it's time to start cutting the 2x12s. The 12 foot 2x4s. There we go. Oh, whatever. Let's start over. We're going to start over. So now it's time to start cutting the 2x4s. And I could do it with a circle saw, but I don't trust myself to make it straight enough. And I got my new blade I want to try out. So maybe it's just an excuse to use my new blade, but we're going to go over here to the miter saw, get this thing installed, and definitely start getting those 2x4s cut. And for my 2 end pieces, I'm going to 45 the edges so they'll kind of miter up instead of just do like a flat butt. Hopefully it'll look prettier. Maybe also help kind of with the seam. So we'll see. But that's going to be the 2 outside pieces. And then go from there. There we go. Woo! That's a nice blade. Alright, so now that we got the bigger longboards cut, now we got to do our little support, 45-45. And so mark the first one and cut it. And now I can use this one as a template. And I don't have to keep setting up my saw and moving it back and forth, because I can just cut one, mark it, cut it, and then I can just flip the board instead of having to set up the saw. So let's get that going. Oh, I marked the wrong side too. Haha! Let me just set this up. See, like I said, you guys are going to learn from my mistakes rather than me showing you the right way to do it. There you go. Right over there. And same thing. Rotate my board. Take my template. Mark it. And that way I can cut it. And of course it started raining after we got everything cut. I barely got everything cut in time. So I've had to pull everything back in the garage. And I got these kind of preset in here. So now it will be ready when I go to pick it up and screw it in. Make things a little faster. Everything's dry now, so let's go work on the ground. Now, before I Jacobify this thing, as my wife says when I mess things up, I'm going to mark the perimeter out with these blocks and boards. After that is set up, I need to get the ground leveled out for the post, just digging a shallow hole. After leveling all of the blocks, I then started on the back and making sure they were all level, checking all the way around. I think it's time to upgrade my level. I guess it looks pretty bad with tape holding it together. Alright, so now that we've got all our four corner posts, or our things flat, we're going to work on our post here. And it holds itself up. But since I'm working by myself and I don't have extra hands, we're going to just kind of clamp this up here just so it doesn't fall when we go to work on it. If you wanted to screw it in, you could, but I don't want to have a bunch of extra holes in my stuff. So ideally, I would have a friend help me, but everybody's busy right now, so we're going to go with this. And it'll work just fine. We'll get our handy dandy little post level thing. And we're gonna strap this up on there. There we go. And this needs to go a little bit that way. Yeah, it's pretty good there. That way. Just need to rotate it a little bit. There you go, that way it's there. And yeah, it's good there. So we're gonna tighten everything up so nothing messes up on me. And we'll let it go and see if it shifted. And it doesn't look like it shifted. Alright. Alright, so now we got that post level, and I got a little scrap. I clamped it up there, so the first piece I'm going to put in there, and I'm going to string it across over there and drill it in there. We'll come around and do the other side. I'm just going to do one at a time, that way if I need to make any adjustments I can before I lock it in. And same thing for this side. We've got our support beam on that end over there. And then we've got this one coming up here. Get them where they line up. And just drill it in. And we'll just keep doing that for all the corners and the middle supports. Alright, and after getting all the cross beams installed, we're going to work on our angled supports. Just go around, get all the screws in. Ooh, ooh, Man, what a day it's been. I thought I was gonna have everything cut and just drill it up and boom, 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 1, 2, 3. And now it's dinner time, so losing daylight. I'm gonna have to stop for now, but at least I've got all the supports and cross beams up, minus that middle one. So tomorrow we're gonna cut it and drill everything, put everything together there. All right, so we just finished screwing in the middle support. Now everything is set up. So now we need to work on the bottom anchors. But before we continue, if you're liking this video, please do me a favor, hit that like button. It'll really help support the channel. All right, let's keep going. All right, so with the anchors, there's two main parts. You've got this part that's going to go down into the ground, and you've got this part that's going on the post here, and it's going to line up in this hole here. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm just getting it up here, making sure it's straight between the posts this way, and then drive it through down that way. And that's basically what we did here. So we're going to do that for all 4 posts. Line it up here, get it where it's straight. We're going to drill it down in, then we're going to attach it to the post here. What is that? Try again. Well, that ain't gonna work. Might have to adjust this post. Alright. Well, looks like the owner before us buried something. Got some rebar and some concrete. They must have had some sort of patio or something here. So, that's lovely. I think what I'm going to do, though, is we might just have to repack all this. And then I'll use that to kind of re-go. Otherwise, I'll have to move this post a little bit and change the anchor. But we're going to drill it in and see if that's going to mess up the integrity or not. Yeah, there's something else down there. All right. Well, plan B. All right, so we actually had 2 different pieces, but dug it out, pulled some other dirt from the other ground, and I packed that in there. I'm going to throw this back on top after I got that anchor in there. And so it's not going to be the prettiest thing, and I'll have to do this better, but like I said, we're just going to pack this in here. This is going to sit right on top of that anchor too, so it'll help hold everything in place, and we'll make this pretty later. All right, so now I've got to attach the anchor to this plate here, and then attach the plate to the stud. I'm not going to make that super tight because I need to install these first. Let me get one in the center here. You know what? I forgot the washers. That would have been nice to have in the beginning. See? What'd I tell you? I didn't say you were going to learn from a professional. Boy, do I love power tools, I'll tell you that much. There we go. And then we can tighten this one up down here. There we go. Yeah. That ain't going nowhere. Alright. So then I'll put a couple more in here, so I'll get all 4 in there, and then do all the rest of the legs. They're in the ground. And I'm not going to worry about the ones on our patio. Moving back to the top now, it's time to install the turnbuckles. I'll be taking care of this with the drill and pre-drilling holes before driving in the screws. Look at that. It almost looks like I know what I'm doing. Alright, so when I was building this thing, I was originally going to screw these into the 4x4 here, but after I screwed in the 2x4s, these screws were kind of in the way. They lined up in the same spot. Plus, I didn't think there was enough wood here on this 2x2, and I didn't want to screw it in down here and make it too low. So I ended up putting on the 2x4 up here. Now, once I got all four corners, I didn't have the strength to make it tight enough, right? Even with these as loose as possible. But you can get a rope and hook it into your sail and then wrap that around. And that way you can get the tension and pull that in. And it was still pretty difficult, but with the help of my lovely wife, I was able to get it. Tighten this up, put the hooks on, and then now you can twist your turnbuckle and give it the proper amount of tension you need for all four corners. There's the sun, and there's our shade. This thing is complete. Now, obviously, the frame is a little bit bigger than the shade, but I needed to because this was a 10 by 20, and I had to have about a foot on each end. So really, it's 12 by 22. So, but I'm thinking it looks pretty good, and you can definitely feel the difference of being in the shade and not in the shade. Of course, night one with this thing in the ground, and Mother Nature decides to run a stress test. I'll be honest, I was watching this thing like it owed me money, but you know what? It held. The sail's doing exactly what a sail does. It's moving, it's breathing, but the frame is planted. Those anchors didn't budge. Capital J 1, wind 0. Now, before one of you smarties rolls in hot telling me I should have sunk a post in concrete, I see you, I hear you. I did not do that because this thing isn't meant to be permanent. It's a temporary setup. I want to be able to modify this down the road when more funds are available. So settle down, grab a snack, and let me finish. Next day, Win still got something to prove. And look, I had my doubts about these anchors going in. I said it, but I've got a hold my beer and watch this mentality. And right now, I'm feeling good about this. But I'm genuinely curious, have you used these same ground anchors before or have a similar setup for a shade sail? Drop it in the comments. Let me know what worked for you, what didn't work for you, and what you would change. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next build.